Repurpose, name of the game.
Yep. All right. Change this. Go. All right. Let me get sound on. And there we go. So I am here with Dorothea Bernique. She is the founder of Increasing Hope, which is helping others prosper economically. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, David.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for having me today.
Yeah. So, you know, I've known you for a little while. You know, we've been doing work with, oh, wait, I need to turn the volume off over here. I'm getting an echo. In various work that I've been doing with women of color entrepreneurs. You know, so you're involved a little bit with that, but before we get into that, can you just tell us a little bit about who you are?
Okay, well, many things. I'll start. I'll give a little bit of personal, a little bit of professional. From the standpoint of personal, I'm a veteran, a wife of 40 years, the grandmother of 4, an entrepreneur at heart, a Christian, and I love serving the community. Now, who am I in reference to Increasing Hope? I'm the executive director and the founder of Increasing Hope, started about now 16 years ago. As a result of being in the financial services field, insurance investment license, and I thought that was the way that I was supposed to serve the community or help the community. Little did I know that there was a greater need, and finding that out made me and motivated me to leave my profession and actually start the nonprofit organization, Increasing Hope. So again, that acronym is helping others prosper economically. From the very beginning, it was to have an umbrella of services that would help individuals in the area of their personal finances, from the very basic information all the way up to understanding investing a lot better and how to grow, build, and sustain assets. And so with that said, I was off in 2005, starting at my kitchen table, writing my own 501c3 application. And it has just been an amazing journey ever since.
Yeah, I bet. I want to jump back a little bit to being an Air Force veteran, because I am as well. I don't know if we've ever talked about that, but what did you do when you were in Air Force?
I was actually a communications specialist. And so on the bases, I worked there, receiving all the messages and the telecoms and making sure that they got out to the right people. So involved having a top secret clearance, working all kinds of crazy hours, and just because of course it was 24/7. So that was my experience.
I was a cook.
Still important. We had to eat. We had to eat.
Everybody has to eat. That, yeah. We were also 24/7, and the whole time I was there, we only shut down the dining hall once, and that was after we won the Air Force wide award for best dining facility in the Air Force.
Awesome.
So we got to shut down for like 6 hours or something like that to go and celebrate.
Oh.
But other than that, it was definitely, I was there during an interesting time from 89 to 96. So a lot of stuff going on back then.
Yeah.
One of the things I noticed on your profile on the Increasing Hope website is that you enjoy skydiving.
I like adventurous things. I equate my walk of faith with being an adventure. And so I like to do adventurous things. I like to then equate that falling out of that plane is like my life of faith, where I'm willing to do those daring things and to make those jumps and to do those things as a result of trusting that things are going to be okay. And so they're fun, they're great, and they make the adventure worthwhile.
Oh yeah. I've done it once, and that was enough. I mean, it was fun, but I definitely it wasn't mentally prepared, I think, for what it was actually going to be like. So we went through a little bit of the training and whatnot, what to do, and and all that, and get out there, and I'm like, I had somebody with me, and he kept tapping my hand to to I guess pull the chute or whatever, and like I was just so mind blown about what was going on. It's like I had no idea what he was.
Well, it was absolutely amazing. It was
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. I would do it again. I would most definitely do it again. I was in California and jumped out over the coast of Oceanside. Got to see an ocean view from on high, and it was just absolutely amazing.
Oh,
and so,
yeah. Yeah, I bet. It reminds me, just kind of going way off topic here, but when I was in the Air Force, I had a deployment to Morocco, and I got an incentive flight in the F-15, and so we got to fly over Morocco. So we're seeing the ocean on one side, the mountains and all that, and that was great, except for the pilot, making me sick within like 5 seconds of taking off. But anyway, I liked kind of how you mentioned taking a leap, and that really kind of fits in with entrepreneurship, right? There's definitely a leap of faith with that. We teach students to take small experiments and learn from them. Kind of hard to do, I think, with skydiving. You can't really skydive from 5 feet, 10 feet, whatever. I mean, I guess you can, but it wouldn't really be the same. But at some point there's that, okay, we're done with the experimenting, we now have to really make it work.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I kind of say it like this, David, is that entrepreneurship is not for cowards. You have to be brave. You have to be daring. You are going to take some leaps of faith. You are going to launch out into the unknown and maybe not have the experience or even a knowledge base in everything that you're attempting to do. But as an entrepreneur, you're focused on what it is that you are trying to do, the problem that you're trying to solve. And when that is most important to you, then you're willing to do what it takes as an entrepreneur. And so definitely not for cowards, not for scaredy cats. It's a lot of hard work. And I'm sure these students know, or if you don't know, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a lot of hard work, but it will also be some of the most rewarding work that you have done, especially if it fits in with what you believe and what you know to be your calling or your purpose or what you were intended to do. That makes it even that much more enjoyable. And the work then becomes not work, but it becomes this adventurous journey that you're on.
And I think your example is a good fit for what I try and explain with entrepreneurship, is that it's not about your idea, it's about the problem you're trying to solve, which you mentioned, right? The problem you're solving. And so you saw a problem in the community, which led to Increasing H.O.P.E. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. The problem that I saw, of course, was the need just for basic financial information. The line in the sand happened or was drawn during the time that I had a client come in. She was sitting with me, supposed to be an investment client, and a little into our conversation, she leaned into me and kind of whispered, "Miss Dorothea, what's investing?" And it was just, that was sort of like the line in the sand for me, whereby I had a client sitting there who didn't even really understand or know what investing was, but yet she was sitting in front of someone to hand them some money or whatever. And so that's when I realized that the need was greater than I had even perceived, but that it needed to start at a different level. We needed to go back and address the basics of personal financial money management from the standpoint of what was a budget, having a spending plan, rebuilding your credit, or understanding basic financial concepts. And when it comes to making decisions about your personal finances. And so hence, that was the need that I saw. The mantra of service above self and excellence in all that I do was what I took with me as I launched out into the deep to start this nonprofit organization, helping individuals prosper economically, helping others prosper economically. It wasn't specifically a specific need for me. I left a job, left a promising career, and my husband allowed me to use our finances to start this business, because we know that's usually what it takes, right? Your
Yep.
own money initially.
Yep.
And that's what we did. And I had the ability to do that, to grow it to where it is today. But that was the start of my adventure. And that was the need that I saw. And that need is even more pervasive today. It definitely has not lessened. We have a lot of work to do. And so, yeah.
Yeah. So one of the questions I mentioned this at the beginning before we started, I like to ask everybody is what something means to them, typically about what it is they do, like what does entrepreneurship mean to you, et cetera. In your case, your focus is on helping people. So my question to you is, what does it mean to you to help people?
What goes back to what I alluded to just a few minutes ago in reference to it being a part of what my purpose is, the reason for being. I mean, a lot of times when we don't find that we have that, or when we do have that and we're able to pinpoint it, that's when your life takes on new meaning. That's when your life not only means something to yourself, but then it means something to other people. And so that's what this whole thing of helping others prosper economically means. It means the opportunity to change your life, to change a family, to change a generation, to change a mindset, to change an attitude, and literally to impact someone in a way that would last a lifetime. Yeah. And so that's what it means to me.
Yeah, and while you might be helping just one person at a time, it adds up.
Ripple effect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, because that's the way I think. With teaching is that I get through to a lot of students, and it may seem small, but it's really over the years now I've had over 1,000 students. Right. And then they go out and talk to people. Right.
Right.
So it's like that old commercial, she tells two friends, they tell two friends. Yeah. So I could see like what you're doing is not just helping those individuals, but you're really helping a whole community.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely. And it's a pleasure. Again, we started, it was basic finances, basic money management, credit rebuilding. We are now a housing counseling agency. So we provide first-time home buyer training and information, guidance to those that are wanting to become homeowners. We are a VITA tax site. That means we do free tax preparation. So this year we were just short of serving 400 individuals doing their taxes, both state and federal, for absolutely free. We help individuals who might be struggling with their mortgages, talk to their lenders, and hopefully save those homes from foreclosure. We've done some community development work in affordable housing. And then, of course, our newest baby in expansion is our work with small business owners as a new women's business center. And so our umbrella of services are expansive, but I've done my best to try to stay in my lane, which is that personal finances. How does it impact your money? How does it help you gain, sustain, and maintain assets? A home is an asset, a business can be an asset. And so that's the area that we try to stay in.
Yeah. So, obviously this last year plus has been difficult. I'm just wondering how that has played out, or how you've seen it playing out in terms of the work you do.
Okay. Well, for our agency, I would tell you that 2020 was an amazing year, and it came, I think, as a result of, and this is for the entrepreneurs out there and your business owners, being prepared, being equipped, having the right infrastructures. And so we were able to take advantage of the expansive amount of grants that were out there, the opportunities, we were a business, and the umbrella opened up for nonprofits to get PPP, which was out of the ordinary. All those opportunities opened up. So we were able to take advantage of it, but it came as a result of being a entrepreneur that was organized and had everything in place. And so for the entrepreneurs out there, that's what I would say is that, number one, you always have to be prepared and equipped for opportunity. If opportunity comes and you're not prepared for it, it's not an opportunity for you. So I would definitely say that first off. Secondly, for once again, it has helped us to become even more equipped to serve the community as everyone is bouncing back. For us as an agency, because when we initially shut down in March of last year, that was in the middle of tax season. So we were deemed an essential business. We never shut our doors. Our doors never shut, and we never stopped serving the community. So we were doing tax returns then, and we just end up doing tax returns again in the extension period all the way through May of this year. So for us, that time period, it meant, again, just the opportunity to serve in an extraordinary way, to go the extra mile, to do what we do in the community and impact the lives in the community.
Yeah, you said you stay in your lane, right? That you're focusing, right? But you're also expanding to helping businesses. If I understand correctly, I think you are working with a partner on that. Is that correct, or am I misunderstanding?
No, we received a grant from the SBA. Now, let me equate small business ownership comes up under our umbrella, is that when we were helping individuals with their personal finances and their budgets, and there most likely, or most of the time, was a shortfall. These individuals would come into us with gift, talents, and abilities that they were giving away to family and friends and whoever. And so once again, from the perspective of how do I make ends meet? How do I get a balanced budget? What is it that I can do? Well, you either decrease the expenses, increase the income, or do a combination of both. Increasing the income by putting a price tag on the services that you are offering, the hair that you're braiding, the cakes that you are making. That's where small business ownership comes in at. And not only do we just want to tell you to go start a business or that you could do it, but we want to be able to equip you to do that. So it still falls up under our umbrella, and we have been doing it for more than 7 years. And it just so happens that just recently, January of this year, by way of writing a grant, we are an SBA funded women's business center. And so that helps us expand the work that we will be doing in this area through the financial support of the SBA as a part of the SBA family. And so that is what we will be doing. That's what we are doing. The center is already open. We already have clients. And a little bit later, we'll talk about then the brand new building, 30,000 square foot building we would be moving into.
So you were helping people realize that, in effect, they were entrepreneurs, right? That they were acting entrepreneurially, except for the financial part.
Except for the financial part, except for the infrastructure, for all those things that we normally do not do to say that we're a business owner. So, and that they could have been in business, created that website, have some business cards doing business, but they're not registered. They don't have an EIN. They don't have a separate business bank account. And so that's where the work of the Women's Business Center will come in.
Yeah. All the little things that people forget about.
Right.
Yeah. And, it is definitely important to have, all of that kind of stuff together. I remember having a speaker early on when I was teaching. He was one of the professors that taught business law. And one of the things he would always talk about is an importance of, like, if you're starting an LLC, to making sure you always keep those financials separate.
Yes.
Because he said, lawyers like me, we will look and find the one time you use your LLC for a personal expense and say, all right, you know what, your LLC is no different from you, so we are coming after your assets too.
Right. So you definitely you want to be legal, okay? You want to be official. You want to be legal, and so those are some of the things that we seek to help the entrepreneurs, with the focus of minority women entrepreneurs in our community, make sure that not only are they using that gift, talent, and ability to create additional income, but that they are doing it the right way. They're creating the foundation that they need, so that when things like an opportunity such as to receive PPP funds, you're ready, you're set, you can go and you can take advantage of that opportunity. So that's where our focus is, and we will be doing a great deal of work in this particular area. So, yeah.
Do you only utilize employees, or do you have a pool of volunteers, or both?
We have both. We
Yeah.
have both. And I will tell you that a great deal of the mentorship work, coaching, and counseling will be done by volunteers. And so we are right now presently in the process of recruiting individuals that would love to be able to contribute their skill sets to the community that we're going to be serving, the minority women community.
Okay.
Mhm.
So if students or their parents who,
Mhm.
or their friends, or whatever, would be interested, what would you be looking for? How would they get in touch with you? That sort of thing.
Okay. Well, very easily they can visit the I Hope Women's Business Center website. Our website is up and it is just iHope, WBC.org. There's a contact form or sheet on there that you can reach out to us, share with us what your interest is, whether it is to receive services or to be a mentor. And also you can give the office a call. They actually are set up just downstairs from us. And so you're able to give them a call and reach out, let them know what your interest is. We will interview you. We will see how and where you fit, what type of hours you can give, and what your skill set is, and how
Mhm.
it best fits with us. And we'll be glad to put you to work.
Yeah. Good. I'm sure that you do. I'll pass this on to Dave Wyman in our Center for Entrepreneurship,
Mhm.
because there's always people contacting him saying, "Hey, how can I help?"
Sure.
And so, you know, um, yeah, you'd be amazed at how many calls people get in a business school saying, "Hey, you know what? I just retired, moved down to Kiowa.
Hmm.
What can I do to help?" So
Definitely.
I think one of the things I like to have students ask, so students in my um, women and minority entrepreneurship class, one of the things that they'll ask is, how can the college help? And so I think that's one of the things that we could be doing is sharing these connections uh,
Hmm.
with community, and doing the things that we like to see being done, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So
Definitely.
um so one of the things I want to talk about also was, because you're focused on financial literacy, that was one of the themes for a team in the class in spring.
Okay.
um and So I believe you were uh part of a panel for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm. Definitely.
um yeah, I think the, how that came out was just in talking with, in particular, women of color entrepreneurs, like what was their biggest need. That was something that really stood out,
Hmm.
was that need for financial literacy.
Yeah. I think financial literacy from the standpoint of, first of all, your personal finances
Hmm.
and how that impacts. One of the things that we definitely believe here is that the way you handle your personal finances will be the way you handle your business finances. You're going to take you into that business with you. And so I
Hmm.
always have our entrepreneurs ask themselves the question, would you hire yourself to do your books? Okay.
Yeah.
If you cannot answer that question, then of course, there's some need for some help and some instruction and guidance in that
Hmm.
way. But also, one of the biggest needs that we saw was the understanding of the business financials, that balance sheet, the profit and loss, the cash flow sheet, and also how did you even start them? If I'm just starting out, how do I create these financials? What
Right.
makes up these financials? And then one of the other things that stuck out the most, of course, was the credit issue. As an entrepreneur, your
Hmm.
business credit is your personal credit, or your personal credit is
Yeah.
your business credit. And so to all of the students on here, or whoever would be listening, that is an area that you have to pay some attention to, because if you're going to be moving your business forward by way of either a loan or even having someone show an interest in investing in you,
Hmm.
your personal credit needs to be in order and needs to be where someone would be willing to invest in you or give you a
Yeah.
loan, whatever the case may be.
I noticed, I guess, I can't remember if it's Facebook or LinkedIn or both. They overlap in my mind. But Monique Hill has been posting a series of stuff about building business credit, little tips and tricks of, how you get your business credit improved.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now, for the basic entrepreneur, once again, and then I just talked with our credit provider just the other day. From that standpoint, once again, the focus should initially, as a new startup or new business, be on your personal credit, because that is your business credit. It
Right.
literally takes years, and it takes certain types of accounts to begin to build a separate business account. So that
Yeah.
initial focus needs to be on your personal credit initially, because when we pull that business credit, it's going to show a flat zero line, nothing, because it takes work to build
Right.
it, and it takes an integration of specific types of accounts to build
Yeah.
that business credit. And so even though it's important, we don't need to get sometimes sidetracked with focusing on something that actually is not relevant initially. But as
Right.
your business grows, and as your
Right.
income grows and your revenues grow, then that's where you want to look at having established that separate business credit.
Yeah, and I think that was something that came up as quite relevant with the PPP. As I understand, the people that probably needed it the most were the least likely to get it, because they didn't have the banking relationships and the credit
Right.
to be able to even be contacted or reach anybody about
Right.
getting these loans.
Exactly. And that is what we saw. And so once again, just stressing the need for the basic infrastructure work to be done initially and off the ground before you focus so much on that product or service. We're all excited about what we do. Even the physician is excited about what he does. He wants to see people, but
Right.
statistics will tell you they're some of the worst business owners ever, because they can't run a business.
Right.
But they can help you get better.
Right.
So
yeah.
just like we need to bring that help around us, whatever it is that you need to do to put the right things in place is what we need to do. And so that's why they end up with these fantastic people that run their offices. They couldn't do it without them,
Right.
because they handle all the business aspects of their office.
Yeah, it's actually been a trend lately for like medical schools and dental schools and stuff like that to add a course in entrepreneurship.
It's about time.
Just to give them some basics on, because they're almost, a large portion of them are going to go, start their own practice with no idea what they're doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to, let's talk about the new building that you have coming up. I'm excited for it in part because it's just like blocks away from where I live.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but tell us a little bit more about, what it is, what it's going to be.
Okay. Well, the building, the name of the building is called the Opportunity Center. The Opportunity Center is going to house my organization, Increasing Hope, and two other nonprofits, a state agency by the name of SCASED, or the South Carolina Association of Community Economic Development, which is the state association for organizations such as myself that we do community development work. The other organization housed there will be the Center for Heirs Property, and they do legal work as it pertains to heirs property within our community. We will be housed and co-owners of this 30,000 square foot building, which will be a training center, a hub for community economic development work in our community. We'll be located off of Rivers Avenue in the North Charleston area. And also the Women's Business Center will now be located in there. And so we have this place is actually an entrepreneurial ecosystem being put together and housed under one roof to be able to serve both the community from the standpoint of financial education, money management, housing counseling, community development, small business training, entrepreneurship. There's going to be an incubator in there. There's training space in there that can be leased out, and office space for rent as well, if anybody's looking for that. And so we're very, very excited about this opportunity. It is anchored by a $2.7 million grant from the EDA. And then we have several other local banking partners and foundations that have been a part of helping us raise the $4.2 million budget for the renovation of this building. We are on the home stretch now, have about 5 months, hoping to take occupancy around the September, October timeframe, whereby all of those many wonderful services will be available to the community under one roof.
Yeah, and that's in North Charleston, and
That's
most
in
of
North
the
Charleston, just right
right.
down
Yeah.
almost to the intersection of Otranto and Rivers Avenue, just before you fork off to 78. And so that's where we'll be located.
Yep. Like I said, it's blocks away from me.
Yeah. Yeah. So very, very excited as
Yeah.
as a person that started their organization from their kitchen table to
Yeah.
now being able to be a part of a project like this, move into a building like this, and hopefully solidify the legacy of the work done in this community is very exciting for me. It's very
Yeah.
exciting.
And it also means it's really close to the express bus.
It's close to the express bus. It's
Yeah.
on the bus line. It is very, very accessible, once
Yeah.
again, to both the demographic that we're going to serve, and just being located centrally. It's not
Mhm.
downtown. It's not
Right.
Somerville or Goose Creek, but just having a good central location for people to meet with us coming from both
Yeah.
sides.
And I'm guessing that there really wasn't much else in North Charleston in that dealt with entrepreneurship and stuff. There were no other incubators that I know
Right.
of. Downtown, basically.
Exactly.
Or Mount
Downtown,
Pleasant.
Mount Pleasant. And also, David, you'll realize that most of the entities or the incubators around, they're tech focused. And
Mhm.
so, we're again focusing on the minority community, women, the mom and pop shops. And so our incubator will be a little bit different in that way in reference to the demographic that it is focused on.
So how, given that small businesses are wide ranging, right? With tech, it's pretty narrow, right?
Mhm.
So it's easy to kind of have a very focused, incubator, right?
Right.
But if you're like small businesses, is there any kind of limit on that, or where do you see the synergies across different industries, or how are you going to manage that
Mhm.
diversity in all the different businesses that you'll be trying to help?
Right. Well, the one way you manage it, once again, is realizing where your strengths are and where the strengths of others are. And
Mhm.
so that's where partnerships and collaboration come in. We do have a desire to make sure that we have industry experts as a part of our mentoring team in the various areas. And
Mhm.
so once again, we don't not necessarily have to be the expert in that particular industry, but we can have either a partner or a mentor or someone who is. And so that then allows us to be able to serve that particular person or business. And then we're also going to be doing have a lot of tools that we will be using, such as Live Plan, Growth Wheel, those things that would help us be able to make adequate assessments of the individual businesses, exactly where they are and specifically what their needs are.
Okay. Yeah, and I guess there are, obviously, as a professor in entrepreneurship, there are some common, things that we teach that
Oh yeah,
should apply to everything. We
yeah.
teach a business modeling class that I teach,
Mhm.
right? And then
Yeah.
there's business plans. Those are pretty,
All the
standard.
basics
Yeah.
will be a given, from the
Right.
basic, your business structure, marketing, sales, customer care, customer service,
Right.
online services, all those things will be a given. And we do have already a curriculum and several applications, both online. So individuals will eventually be able to take trainings online at their own pace, as well as we have a host of trainings that take place on a weekly basis for
Mhm.
individuals to tap into. Just again, visit our website, sign up for any of those. And so we feel like we, even though we're just getting off the ground here, just getting started, that we are well equipped and have a good assessment of what the community needs are in
Yeah.
order to do this work. The Women's Business Center might just be coming online, but Increasing Hope has been serving entrepreneurs for over 7 years. And then even before COVID, we recognized the need of the minority community to have specific work and help and assistance in these various areas. So
Mhm.
that's why the Opportunity Center was already in the works. The Opportunity Center was already being built. The services of the Opportunity Center were already in the works. And so having COVID kind of shine the light on the need for minority business owners to get help in this area, it wasn't news to us. And that's
Right.
because we have already been serving the community.
Right.
And we knew what the needs were. Yeah.
And why do you think that there is that need specifically for minority business owners?
Sometimes it's just, there are some, what I want to say, hurdles that sometimes face the minority business owner that others may not face, which is just simply access to the education, access to the knowledge, access to the information, access to relationships that then give them the end with certain people, access to capital. And so there are several hurdles and obstacles that have to be overcome from the standpoint of making sure that they're getting the information that they need to have viable businesses. And so once again, recognizing those hurdles, we are equipped to help them overcome those hurdles, thereby helping to set them up for success.
Yeah, networks are really important, right? And so, obviously the networks downtown are going to be very different than the networks in North Charleston.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And even, again, just access. And one thing I'm going to mention here, and it's because we're doing a program right now with high growth, high scaling minority business owners. And people thought it was going to be impossible, number one, to find them, to work with them. I have a group of 13 inventors, people with patents, people with prototypes in the works, amazing individuals. And the only thing that I did different from other individuals is that I was intentional about finding them. I was intentional about looking for them. And so the folks downtown in Mount Pleasant, wherever they're at and that are serving entrepreneurs, they need to get more intentional about this demographic and this population.
Yeah. I agree 100%. It's something that I've been pushing at the college in our department in particular, is being more intentional about just like who we're using as speakers and who we're using as cases. So the one class that I'm teaching is right now called Minority Entrepreneurship. And I'm changing it to women and minority business owners because there's that perception of entrepreneurship, has very much the, white male kind of persona to it, right? I've talked to a lot of people, women or minorities that never really thought of themselves as entrepreneurs, but just as business owners. Have you seen that? Or probably not really paying attention to that distinction.
Probably not paying a lot of attention to it. They know that they are business owners, but saying or using it, that I'm an entrepreneur, or I'm a person that has a propensity to work for myself versus working from someone else. It could just be, that's my side hustle. And I just know it as my side hustle. I don't identify myself as an entrepreneur per se. Yeah. But basically, if you're out there solving a problem, that's the definition of an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So again, just making sure, just recognizing who they are, what they are, and that they need to treat themselves as such, because this is who you are. And so because you are, let's get things in place. Let's set things in order so that you can grow your business and be a successful entrepreneur. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I'm changing the name to, because I'm hoping that, more students, a more diverse range of students will see the class and see this as a feasible path for them. So I'm hoping that helps. But helping people see that they're entrepreneurs. I mentioned before, that's one of the things I've been doing with my interviews with DJs, is trying to get them to see that that they are entrepreneurs. And the reason that I told them that I'm trying to get them to think that way is that when you look at it, there's a lot more help for entrepreneurs and businesses than there are for, people who work in a nightclub, right? You got unemployment, that's about it, right? But when you think of yourself as an entrepreneur, well, now a whole lot of other things open up. Right. And I've been working with the DJs because I know a lot of them, but because I know I have a lot of friends that work in the nightlife industry, and that's been shut down for over a year, right? So no
Right.
income, right? And so I was racking my brain trying to figure out what is it that I can do to help besides, sending money everywhere, and stuff like that. But that became my conclusion, is that I can help people at least start to think of themselves as entrepreneurs and think about how that can help them, in the short run and the long run, right? As DJs or any kind of creator.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And if you think about it from the standpoint of whether or not you are doing it as a side hustle or whatever you want to call it, or in addition to a full-time job, you still need the infrastructure. You still need to be able to
Right.
be set up properly and correctly as you're doing that. A name or a title is not as important as it is having the infrastructure and the work done, so that when it's needed or when an opportunity presents itself, you're able to take advantage of it.
Right.
So,
Yeah. And it's interesting that you mentioned, what an entrepreneur is, somebody solving a problem, because just this week in the introductory entrepreneurship class, that was one of their assignments, was to go and look up definitions of what entrepreneurship is and what an entrepreneur is, and try to come to conclusions. One of the conclusions is simply that there is no one definition for it. There are a million definitions. There always has been. But I do like one that involves problem solving, because I think that is a major aspect to me, and that helps expand what entrepreneurship is, right? If you're solving a problem, if you're creating a solution to a problem and implementing it, to me, that's the entrepreneur. Right. So it doesn't have to be, starting a business. It can be starting a nonprofit. It can be working within an organization. It can be just bringing people together to make something happen. I consider, putting together the Women of Color Entrepreneurs Forum as, a little mini entrepreneurial venture, right? It was creating something to try and address a problem.
Right.
Even if it was, just one time or two times so far, but, it's spinning other things off of it.
Right.
So, yeah. And so to me, part of the lesson for that is, the idea of just doing it, right? Get out there, take action, right? You're not an entrepreneur until you've actually done something.
Right.
Yeah.
And you again, you can't be a coward, and you can't be afraid. Fear is one of the biggest obstacles that entrepreneurs face, but I am, again, that proponent, just like, you jumping out of that plane or skydiving or whatever it is that you want to do. You face the adventure head on, burst through that invisible wall of fear. That's the other thing about fear, is that it can present itself in ways that you don't and can't recognize. So fear is one of the biggest obstacles as an entrepreneur. I'm afraid I won't be successful. I'm afraid I'm going to fail. I'm afraid I won't have enough clients. I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid of that. So I want to encourage each of you not to allow fear to paralyze you from the steps that you take to grow your business, and even just to step out there and begin that business growth process.
And one way to manage that, and this comes in part from research on what was considered expert entrepreneurs, people who had started multiple companies that went public, and then running them through speak aloud thought exercises in terms of different scenarios and what they would do. And so the theory that came out of this is called effectuation, and the basic idea to start with is that and in particular here about the fear, is that these expert entrepreneurs only risk what they're willing to lose. So, you know, if you're willing to lose it, then there should be little fear, right? And I equate it with like the advice you're supposed to follow if you're going to go to a casino, right? Don't take any more money than you're willing to lose, because you're going to lose
Exactly.
it,
Yeah.
right? And so that's, you know, how you know, expert entrepreneurs approach entrepreneurship, right? Is that they start with what they know, who they know, and try little things to see what works, and only invest the time and money that they're willing to give up, right?
Right.
So if you do that, you know, that helps, you know, alleviate that fear. So part of, I think, the problem with in terms of fear is that stems from trying to do too much, right? Taking too much risk, right? So, you know, people think of entrepreneurs as risk takers. They're not really any more risk oriented than anybody else, but at least expert entrepreneurs they look at risk mitigation, right? How can they minimize risk, right? What is the least thing that I can do that'll help me learn something about this market, this product, and where to go next, as opposed to trying to just like, okay, let's put everything together, write the business plan, get all the money, launch it, and then see if it's going to work.
Right. I think that's correct. But another thing also is sometimes the lack of knowledge and awareness and an understanding of what you're doing. That's why it's so important to become knowledgeable about the business structure, and again, you don't have to be that expert, but surround yourself with people who do have the expertise in various areas. That will also take away the fear, because you can count on their knowledge, count on their expertise, lean on them. And it helps alleviate that level of fear. So the not knowing, people are fearful when we don't know.
Right.
And so that's where that will help alleviate that as well.
Yeah, definitely. I remember when I first started taking entrepreneurship classes years ago, you know, one of the first speakers, you know, said, you know, the biggest piece of advice he had that I remember was surround yourself with people smarter than you.
Yeah.
And you know, I've heard that, you know, a lot from other people, and I've always recommended in classes that, you know, when you're looking at starting a business, put together, you know, an advisory board, even if it's just an informal thing, right? You don't have to pay people, right, as advisors, but they're there to, you know, help you. You know, if they believe in what you're doing, they'll help you. And it also adds an additional benefit of what's called signaling, that, you know, if you got so-and-so advising you, that signals to other people that you're a little more legitimate.
Right. So advisors, David, and also good mentors. You know, people, again, advisors will pour into your life, but a mentor as well. That's a necessity. That's an absolute necessity in the small business world. And again, surrounding yourself with those with experience or knowledge in areas.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you are, you know, matching people up with, or helping people with getting mentors, right? How do you make that match?
Currently, now the match is being of the mentor and then the stated need of the mentee. So that's being done manually. However, in the very near future here, we will have a matchmaking application, a very robust, data-driven application that will help us make and match our mentors with our mentees, whereby they can do telephone sessions, video sessions, appointments, conversations on a long-term basis with their mentors and mentees. And so that is what we're putting in place. Currently is being done manually with individuals. Yeah.
So are you using some off-the-shelf like software for that?
We're leaning towards, we're vetting several right now, but we're leaning toward Coronis which is a mentor software that
How's
we
it
feel
spelled?
like will fit our population.
How's it spelled?
CHRONUS, Coronis.
Okay. Because I'm looking for something myself. Because I match teams up with mentors, and right now it's just me manually matching them. But we've been talking about expanding that for like the whole entrepreneurship program,
Right.
because each of the professors are like, they've got their little network, and so it would be much better if we could just pool them all together and then use something. And so I've got it like on my board over here. It's like create a formal mentor network. And so, well, now I know there's some software out there that could be used. I'll look into that. So I learned something. As we're going on an hour or so here, I want to ask you, well, first of all, I want to remind students, if you have a question, please just type it in chat, raise your hand with the reactions, or, just try and jump in. But if no one has questions, I have at least one, which I said I always ask. Oh, John, you raise your hand.
Hey, yeah. So I had a question for you, Miss Bernique. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes.
A friend of mine is in the early startup stages of his nonprofit, which is it's in kind of a gaming field in a specific location it's for people of color, and he's trying to get more people of color involved in kind of a traditionally not people of color oriented field. And what he's run into, there's a couple people that play these games, but for the most part, it's him and a couple of other people, and I'm talking across almost the entire Southeast. And what he's run into is, while he's starting this nonprofit, is he is having problems finding people to kind of help support him. Like, for example, write websites, offer advice, write papers, do things like that, because he seems to feel that people are worried, like a white person is worried about applying for a job or a internship or something that might be more beneficial to a person of color for this person of color organization. I was just wondering if there's any advice that you might have for him that I could pass along to him.
Oh, that's a tough one. And I'm going to say it's tough because of the position that I take on it. Number one, if he's starting a business in an organization, his first focus should be finding the person with the right talent that he needs to do the job that needs to be done. The focus should not strictly be on whether the person is a person that's a minority. He needs a person to do that job. I think giving the opportunity for someone to come to the table with the right abilities and talents that he needs, that person could end up being a minority or it could not. What he will do is hurt himself by hiring a minority that does not have the skill set and the talent that he needs. And so, again, guys, I don't want to get going because, look, he needs to find the right person to do the right job. Sometimes we major on the minors, okay? And the community and the atmosphere that we're in now might just as much cause us to make wrong choices and decisions because we're focused on making only one type of decision. Okay. So I'm trying to say that as nice as I can. That's all I'm going to say.
If I understood the question correctly, I think what he was saying was that that people are not volunteering because they're not minorities.
Yeah, because even like I, for example, was hesitant to volunteer because I didn't want to take up a slot that could be taken up by a minority.
We can't think like that, guys. I'm sorry. I'm just not of that camp. Yeah. And if you like what this person is doing, you feel like you can help them, then volunteer your services. Don't be intimidated by the mantra that's out there and the community and the atmosphere that we're in right now. That is the biggest obstacle to us actually being of service to one another.
Yeah. I mean, that's why, I do things that are specifically focused on, minorities. It's not, you don't have to be a minority to help minorities. In fact, it should be that everyone is helping, even more so.
Right.
So, if you have if people have an interest and a passion and they're the best, people for it, then go for it. Right. I mean, ultimately, the goal here of the organization supersedes, everything else. Right.
Right.
Who's helping and who's not is a minor issue compared to what it sounds like, the work that's being done.
And so I asked this question, and I do have another interview.
Mhm.
I would ask this question is that, so, what if there is no minorities out there with that talent to do it? Does this business owner then go without because someone else is intimidated by the fact that they're not a person of color in order to assist them? And so I just think we're doing ourselves a disservice to box ourselves in. And so don't allow yourself to be boxed in from the standpoint of being of service and helping and serving someone else.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Chris.
Hey, so I was just kind of wondering, for the people that come to you that are startups, what is the most common piece of basic financial information that they lack that we might be able to benefit from?
I would tell you one of the most basics is, and it's what causes the most fear and apprehension, is those financials. Keeping the business separate from the personal and putting together those financials, developing that. And then also from the standpoint of thinking that business plan or business model is such a huge hurdle and that causing them to freeze, putting that information down. The work of doing that is also the next, I think, would be up there as well.
When you say financials, you mean like the financial statements?
Yes, your financial statements. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, my closing question, as everybody knows by now, is just asking, and this is open to however you want to interpret it, but what gives you hope?
Oh gosh, what gives me hope? Every day gives me hope. Number one, every day I get another opportunity to serve, another opportunity to impact a life. What gives me hope is seeing individuals take advantage of and use the services and the resources that we have become in the community. That gives me hope. Seeing individuals engage in, once again, the financial education training, that gives me hope. Seeing the doors of opportunity open on a daily basis from the standpoint of our funding, of our partners, that gives me hope. So I could go on and on about that. My mantra and my lifestyle is I will hope continually and praise him more and more. And so hoping and actually, let me break it down like this. Hope is no more than having an expectation and a confidence in an expectation. And so we can all wake up and we can all engage in having more hope, just expecting better things, just expecting more. And so I live a lifestyle of like looking around every corner, expecting something good to happen, expecting doors to open, expecting to be a success, and expecting to change a life today. That's what gives me hope.
Wow, I like that. That's a great way to conclude this session. So I want to thank you very much for taking time to come speak with me and the class.
Thank you.
And obviously, I'm excited about the work that you're doing, and when the center opens up, I will try to make some time to come over and
Awesome.
see what's going on, see if there's any ways I can help. I'll probably sign up as a mentor or something, and
Sounds great.
it'll be great.
All right. Well, we look forward to seeing you at the grand opening.
Oh yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. It's nice to meet you all.